In a galaxy far beyond what humans could see with their naked eyes, Earth was just another tiny dot floating in the endless sea of stars. To the countless alien civilizations scattered across the universe, Earth wasn't anything special. It was home to creatures they called humans, who seemed chaotic, divided, and weak compared to the advanced beings that ruled other planets. These aliens had been watching Earth for centuries, observing its people through powerful telescopes and invisible drones. They saw humanity fight wars, destroy their own environment, and struggle to understand even basic science. To them, humans were nothing more than primitive animals, no threat at all. But what these aliens didn't know was that appearances can be deceiving. Deep within Earth's bustling cities, hidden among ordinary lives, there were sparks of brilliance, waiting to ignite. Among those sparks was a man named Dr. Elias Kane. He was an astrophysicist working at NASA, spending long nights staring at computer screens filled with numbers and charts. While most people went about their daily routines oblivious to the vastness of space, Elias spent his days searching for answers to questions no one else dared to ask. What lay beyond the stars? Was Earth truly alone? And if not, what kind of life existed out there? Elias had always been fascinated by the mysteries of the universe. As a child, he would lie on the grass in his backyard, gazing up at the night sky, dreaming of distant worlds. Now, as an adult, he turned that childhood wonder into a lifelong mission. His colleagues often joked that Elias lived more in space than on Earth. But despite their teasing, they respected him. He was brilliant, driven, and relentless when it came to solving puzzles. And right now, Elias was working on the biggest puzzle of his career. One evening, while reviewing data from a satellite orbiting the edge of the solar system, Elias noticed something strange. There was a blip, a small but unmistakable anomaly, moving through the Kuiper Belt. At first glance, it looked like a comet or some random asteroid, but as Elias zoomed in on the image, his heart began to race. This object wasn't natural. Its shape was too perfect. Its movement too deliberate. Whatever it wasn't made by nature. It was made by intelligent hands. For hours, Elias pored over the data, cross-referencing it with older observations and running simulations to rule out errors. But the more he studied it, the clearer it became. This was no glitch, it was real, and it was heading toward Earth. At first, Elias kept his discovery to himself. He knew how crazy it sounded, even to someone like him. If he told anyone, they might laugh or dismiss him as paranoid. So instead, he worked quietly, gathering evidence to support his theory. Every night, he stayed late at the lab, analyzing new data as it came in. Slowly but surely, a picture began to form. The object wasn't alone. It was part of a fleet, a massive armada of ships traveling faster than anything humans had ever built. They were coming from deep space, farther away than any telescope could reach. As the days passed, Elias grew increasingly uneasy. He couldn't shake the feeling that this discovery would change everything, not just for him but for all of humanity. He thought about telling his boss, Director Sarah Chen, but hesitated. What if she didn't believe him? Or worse, what if she did and panicked? The weight of responsibility pressed down on him like a heavy blanket. He was just one man after all. How could he possibly handle something this big? Despite his doubts, Elias knew he couldn't stay silent forever. One morning, he finally decided to share his findings with Sarah. She listened carefully as he explained the data, her expression shifting from skepticism to concern. By the time he finished, she was pacing back and forth, muttering under her breath. "This changes everything," she said finally. "If you're right, and I think you are, we need to act fast." Together, Elias and Sarah began preparing a report for the United Nations Space Council, an international body responsible for monitoring potential threats from space. They included detailed diagrams, calculations, and projections showing the trajectory of the alien fleet. According to their estimates, the ships would reach Earth within weeks. That left precious little time to prepare. News of the impending arrival spread quickly among government officials, sparking heated debates about how to respond. Some argued for immediate evacuation plans, while others insisted on building defenses. A few even suggested trying to communicate with the aliens, hoping to establish peaceful relations before they arrived. But amid the chaos, one thing became clear. Humanity was woefully unprepared for what was coming. While world leaders argued behind closed doors, ordinary people carried on with their lives, unaware of the storm brewing above their heads. In New York City, commuters rushed to catch subways, students crammed for exams, and tourists snapped photos of landmarks. Out in the countryside, farmers tended to their crops, families gathered for dinner, and children played under the stars. No one suspected that their world was about to change forever. Back at NASA, Elias found himself haunted by visions of what might happen next. Would the aliens come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge, or would they arrive as conquerors, intent on claiming Earth for themselves? Either way, he knew humanity couldn't afford to sit idly by. For better or worse, the fate of the planet rested in their hands, and Elias intended to do everything in his power to protect it. As the days ticked away, tension mounted. The skies remained calm, but the sense of dread grew stronger with each passing hour. Somewhere out there, beyond the reaches of human sight, a fleet of alien ships was drawing closer. And soon, humanity would have to face them head-on. Little did anyone know, this encounter would mark the beginning of a story that would rewrite galactic history forever. Elias stared out the window of his lab, watching the sun dip below the horizon. The sky glowed orange and pink, painting the world in warm hues. But beneath the beauty, a shadow loomed, a reminder of the unknown challenges ahead. Taking a deep breath, Elias turned back to his work. Whatever happened next, he vowed to stand strong. Humanity's future depended on it. The day the aliens arrived, the world stood still. It wasn't a gradual appearance, nor was it subtle. One moment, Earth's skies were clear and calm, and the next, massive ships descended from the heavens like gods descending to judge their creation. The vessels shimmered with an otherworldly glow, their surfaces reflecting sunlight in ways that made them look almost alive. They hovered silently above major cities, New York, London, Tokyo, Beijing, as if daring humanity to react. People froze in awe and terror. Some dropped to their knees, praying to whatever deity they believed in. Others ran screaming, convinced the end of the world had come. Social media erupted with videos and photos of the ships, each post accompanied by frantic captions like, "Is this real?" or "What do we do now?" News outlets scrambled to cover the event, but no one, not scientists, not politicians, not even conspiracy theorists, had any answers. Humanity was completely unprepared for what happened next. From the largest ship hovering ominously over New York City came a voice. It wasn't spoken in any human language, yet everyone understood it perfectly. The message boomed across every radio frequency, television channel, and smartphone screen. "We are the Zorathians. Your species is inferior. Surrender now, or face annihilation." The words sent shockwaves through the global population. Panic spread faster than wildfire. People flooded the streets, desperate to flee the cities. Traffic jams stretched for miles as cars collided and highways turned into parking lots. In some places, riots broke out as fear gave way to chaos. Governments tried to maintain order, issuing statements urging citizens to stay calm, but their pleas fell on deaf ears. Fear had taken hold, and there was no stopping it. Dr. Elias Kane watched the events unfold from his lab at NASA headquarters. He had known this moment might come, but nothing could have prepared him for the reality of it. The Zorathian ships were unlike anything he'd imagined, massive, sleek, and radiating power. Their presence filled him with both dread and fascination. These beings weren't just advanced, they were superior in every way. Yet, despite their overwhelming strength, Elias refused to give up hope. If anyone could find a weakness, it was him. Elias wasn't alone in his determination. Around the world, ordinary people began organizing resistance efforts. Social media became a hub of activity as civilians shared plans for guerrilla warfare against the invaders. Among these voices was Mia Torres, a former Marine-turned-survivalist living in rural Montana. Mia had always been a fighter, someone who thrived in tough situations. When she saw the Zorathian ships on the news, her first thought wasn't panic. It was action. Mia gathered a small group of volunteers, including her brother Jake, a mechanic with a knack for building gadgets, and Sarah Chen, a retired scientist who had once worked alongside Elias. Together they converted an old barn into a makeshift command center, equipping themselves with whatever weapons and tools they could scavenge. While the rest of the world descended into chaos, Mia's team focused on strategy. They knew conventional weapons wouldn't stand a chance against the Zorathians, but Mia believed that desperation bred creativity. If they couldn't fight the aliens head-on, they would have to outsmart them. Meanwhile, world leaders convened an emergency meeting to discuss a response. The United Nations Space Council invited Elias to present his findings about the Zorathian fleet. Standing before a room full of diplomats and military officials, Elias explained his theory about a potential flaw in the aliens' shield technology. Based on data collected during their approach, he hypothesized that the Zorathian shields relied on electromagnetic fields, which could be disrupted using Earth's own EMP, electromagnetic pulse technology. The idea was met with skepticism. Many dismissed it as too risky or impossible to implement. But Elias persisted, arguing that it was humanity's only chance. "If we don't try," he said, his voice steady despite the weight of the situation, "we've already lost." Eventually, the council agreed to move forward with his plan, though secretly, they feared causing mass hysteria if the public learned how dire things truly were. As preparations began, the Zorathians wasted no time asserting their dominance. Their ships unleashed devastating attacks on key cities, leveling buildings and leaving thousands dead. Fighter jets scrambled to intercept them, but the alien vessels moved with impossible speed and precision. Missiles fired at them exploded harmlessly against their shields, proving just how futile traditional warfare would be. The destruction was swift and merciless, painting a grim picture of humanity's fate if something didn't change quickly. Montana, Mia and her team monitored the devastation from their makeshift command center. Watching the news reports, Mia clenched her fists in frustration. She hated feeling powerless, but she also knew they needed more information before making their move. That's when Jake noticed something unusual, a pattern in the timing of the Zorathian attacks. Each strike occurred exactly 15 minutes, apart, almost as if the aliens were following a schedule. "This could be our opening," Mia said, her eyes lighting up with determination. If they could predict the next attack, they might be able to exploit it. But exploiting it meant getting close enough to the alien ships to plant EMP devices directly onto their hulls, a mission that sounded suicidal. Undeterred, Mia volunteered herself and her team for the task. Armed with homemade stealth gear and EMP devices cobbled together from spare parts, they set out for Washington, D.C., where the largest Zorathian ship loomed overhead. The journey was perilous, with roads blocked by debris and skies patrolled by alien drones. But Mia's leadership kept the group focused. She reminded them why they were doing this, not just for themselves, but for everyone back home who couldn't fight. When they reached the outskirts of the city, the team split up. Jake stayed behind to monitor communications and provide cover, while Mia and Sarah infiltrated the area beneath the massive ship. Moving silently through the ruins, they avoided patrols of humanoid robots deployed by the Zorathians. Every step felt like walking on thin ice, knowing that one wrong move could mean instant death. Finally, they reached the base of the ship. Its surface pulsed faintly, as if alive, and the air around it crackled with energy. Mia hesitated for a moment, staring up at the towering vessel. Then, taking a deep breath, she activated the EMP device and attached it to the hull. The machine hummed softly as it began syncing with the alien technology. Suddenly, alarms blared and red lights flashed along the ship's surface. They had been detected. "Go, now!" Sarah shouted, pushing Mia toward the exit. The two women sprinted through the rubble, dodging blasts from the ship's defensive systems. Behind them, the ground shook as the Zorathians attempted to neutralize the threat. Just as they reached the rendezvous point, the EMP detonated. A blinding flash of light engulfed the area, followed by a deafening silence. The ship's shield flickered and collapsed, leaving it exposed for the first time. Across the globe, similar devices planted by other resistance groups triggered simultaneously, disabling dozens of Zorathian vessels. For the first time since their arrival, the invaders faltered. Humanity seized the opportunity, launching coordinated counterattacks that crippled the alien fleet. The tide of the battle had turned, and for the first time, the Zorathians tasted fear. What they had assumed would be an easy conquest had become a nightmare. Back in Montana, Mia watched the news reports with a mix of relief and pride. Her team's bravery had paid off, giving humanity a fighting chance. But she knew the war was far from over. The Zorathians wouldn't retreat easily, and Earth still faced unimaginable challenges. Yet amidst the chaos, a spark of hope remained. For the first time in history, humanity had proven it wasn't weak. It was capable of standing up to even the most powerful adversaries. As the sun rose over the horizon, casting golden light across the battered landscape, Mia allowed herself a rare smile. This was only the beginning. Whatever came next, humanity would face it together. And maybe, just maybe, they would emerge stronger than ever before. The EMP attack had worked, better than anyone could have imagined. The Zorathian fleet, once an unstoppable force of destruction, now found itself vulnerable. Their shimmering shields, which had seemed impenetrable just hours earlier, were gone. Alien ships floated helplessly in Earth's atmosphere, their sleek surfaces exposed to human weapons for the first time. Across the globe, humanity seized this unexpected advantage with ferocity. Military forces launched coordinated strikes against the invaders. Fighter jets screamed through the skies, unleashing missiles that tore into the unprotected hulls of Zorathian vessels. Ground troops armed with experimental laser rifles, reverse-engineered from alien tech captured during previous skirmishes, fought back against the humanoid robots patrolling cities. Civilians joined the fight too, using whatever weapons they could find to defend their homes. The resistance movement Mia Torres had helped inspire spread like wildfire, uniting people from all walks of life under one goal: survival. In Washington, D.C., where Mia and her team had planted the EMP device, chaos erupted as humans swarmed the disabled flagship. Soldiers breached its outer defenses, fighting their way inside to disable its core systems. Inside the ship, they encountered strange corridors lined with glowing panels and eerie silence. It felt like stepping into another world, a hostile, alien labyrinth designed to confuse and trap intruders. But the soldiers pressed on, driven by adrenaline and a burning desire to protect their planet. Meanwhile, Dr. Elias Kane watched the unfolding events from NASA headquarters. His theory about the Zorathians' shield technology had proven correct, and he couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and guilt. Pride because his idea had given humanity a fighting chance, and guilt because so many lives had been lost in the process. He knew the battle was far from over. Even without their shields, the Zorathians still possessed advanced weaponry and technology far beyond anything Earth could produce. Humanity's newfound momentum would only last if they acted quickly and decisively. Elias wasn't alone in his concerns. World leaders convened another emergency meeting, this time focused on long-term strategies. They agreed that defeating the Zorathians required more than brute force. It demanded innovation. Scientists and engineers were tasked with reverse engineering captured alien technology to accelerate Earth's technological capabilities. Laboratories around the world buzzed with activity as researchers worked tirelessly to understand the inner workings of Zorathian devices. Every piece of salvaged equipment held clues that could tip the scales in humanity's favor. One breakthrough came faster than anyone expected. A team of physicists in Europe discovered how to harness energy from the Zorathians' weapon systems, creating portable power sources capable of fueling everything from tanks to satellites. Another group in Japan developed stealth drones modeled after alien designs, allowing reconnaissance missions deep into enemy territory. These advancements transformed Earth's military overnight, turning outdated tools of war into cutting-edge instruments of defense. But perhaps the most significant development occurred when hackers managed to infiltrate the Zorathians' communication network. By decoding fragments of their language, experts pieced together vital information about the aliens' command structure and weaknesses. This intel allowed humanity to anticipate their moves and strike strategically. For the first time since the invasion began, Earth had the upper hand. Back in Montana, Mia Torres became a symbol of hope for millions. News of her daring raid on the flagship spread rapidly, inspiring others to join the fight. Her makeshift command center grew into a full-fledged operations hub, coordinating efforts between local militias, government forces, and civilian volunteers. People traveled from across the country to lend their skills, whether it was engineering, medicine, or combat training. What started as a small group of survivors had evolved into a formidable army united by a shared purpose. Mia herself remained at the forefront of the battle. Though she often doubted her own leadership abilities, those around her saw her as fearless and resourceful. She led missions behind enemy lines, gathering intelligence and sabotaging key targets. One particularly dangerous operation took her team to Chicago, where a massive Zorathian mothership loomed over the city. Its presence disrupted communications and drained energy from nearby areas, making it a critical target. Under cover of darkness, Mia and her team infiltrated the ruins of downtown Chicago. The streets were eerily quiet, littered with debris and abandoned vehicles. Above them, the mothership pulsed with ominous light, casting long shadows across the ground. As they approached the ship, Mia noticed something unusual, a series of cables snaking down from its underside, connecting it to generators scattered throughout the city. These cables appeared to be supplying the ship with additional power. "This is our chance," Mia whispered to her team. "Cut the cables, and we might cripple the ship." The mission was risky. Guard bots patrolled the area, programmed to detect any signs of interference. But Mia's team had prepared for such challenges. Using modified EMP grenades, they disabled the bots one by one, clearing a path to the nearest generator. Jake rigged the cable with explosives while Sarah monitored the ship's movements from a safe distance. When the charges detonated, the resulting explosion sent shockwaves rippling through the air. The mothership shuddered violently, its lights flickering as it struggled to maintain stability. Encouraged by their success, other teams targeted similar generators across the city. Within hours, the mothership collapsed inward, crashing to the ground in a fiery blaze. Cheers erupted among the resistance fighters, but Mia knew better than to celebrate too soon. Each victory came at a cost, and the Zorathians weren't done yet. As the days passed, humanity continued to push back against the invaders. Cities devastated by earlier attacks were rebuilt stronger, fortified with new defenses based on alien technology. Governments formed alliances, pooling resources and expertise to ensure no region was left undefended. The United Nations established the Global Defense Initiative, GDI, a unified organization dedicated to protecting Earth from future threats. Under its banner, nations worked together like never before, setting aside old rivalries in pursuit of a common goal. Yet despite these achievements, questions lingered. Who were the Zorathians? Why had they chosen Earth as their target? And what did they truly want? Rumors circulated about a mysterious figure known only as the Architect, rumored to have orchestrated humanity's resurgence. Some believed it was Elias Kane, whose scientific brilliance had laid the groundwork for their victories. Others thought it was someone else entirely, a shadowy mastermind pulling strings from behind the scenes. Whoever it was, their influence inspired millions to believe that humanity could not only survive, but thrive in the face of galactic adversity. For Mia, the answer didn't matter. What mattered was the fight ahead. She knew the Zorathians wouldn't give up easily. If anything, their arrogance would drive them to retaliate with even greater force. But Mia also knew something else. Humanity had proven itself capable of rising to the challenge. From the scientists working tirelessly in labs to the soldiers risking their lives on the front lines, everyone played a part in turning the tide of the war. As dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Mia stood atop a hill overlooking what remained of her hometown. The landscape was scarred by battle, but amidst the wreckage, signs of resilience emerged. Homes were being rebuilt, crops replanted, and children played in the streets again. Humanity had been pushed to its limits, but it hadn't broken. Instead, it had grown stronger. Mia smiled faintly, her gaze fixed on the distant glow of the sun. Whatever came next, she vowed to keep fighting, not just for herself, but for everyone who called Earth home. The Zorathians had underestimated humanity once. They wouldn't make the same mistake twice. The Zorathians had never anticipated defeat. For centuries, they had roamed the galaxy unchallenged, conquering weaker civilizations and claiming resources without resistance. Earth was supposed to be just another conquest, a quick, effortless victory over a primitive species. But humanity had shattered that illusion. The EMP attacks, followed by coordinated counterstrikes, had forced the invaders onto the defensive for the first time in their history. Their arrogance had blinded them to the possibility of failure, and now they were paying the price. As the weeks passed, the tide of the war continued to shift in humanity's favor. Cities once reduced to rubble were rebuilt with astonishing speed, fortified with advanced defenses reverse-engineered from captured alien technology. Skyscrapers now bristled with laser turrets, and underground bunkers housed state-of-the-art command centers. The Global Defense Initiative, GDI, established under the leadership of the United Nations, coordinated efforts across continents, ensuring no region was left vulnerable. Humanity wasn't just fighting back, it was evolving. At the heart of this transformation was Dr. Elias Kane. His discovery of the flaw in the Zorathian shields had sparked a chain reaction of innovation. Scientists around the world hailed him as a hero, though Elias himself remained humble. He spent long hours in labs working alongside teams of researchers to unlock the secrets of alien tech. Every breakthrough brought humanity closer to parity with the Zorathians, and sometimes even surpassing them. One of his most significant contributions came when he developed a prototype weapon capable of targeting the energy cores of alien ships. Dubbed the Starbreaker Cannon, it became a game-changer on the battlefield, turning the tables against the invaders. But while Elias worked behind the scenes, Mia Torres emerged as the face of humanity's resistance. Her daring raids and strategic brilliance inspired millions, earning her legendary status among both civilians and soldiers. People referred to her as the Iron Flame, a nickname born from her unyielding determination and fiery leadership. Under her guidance, the GDI trained volunteers into elite fighters, blending traditional military tactics with guerrilla warfare techniques tailored to combat the Zorathians' superior technology. These new units, known as the Vanguard Forces, became instrumental in pushing the aliens back. One of the largest battles took place over the Atlantic Ocean, where a massive Zorathian dreadnought loomed ominously above the waters. The ship served as a mobile fortress, coordinating attacks across Europe and North America. Its destruction was critical to humanity's survival, but also incredibly dangerous. The dreadnought's weapons could obliterate entire fleets in seconds, and its reinforced hull made it nearly impervious to conventional attacks. To tackle this behemoth, the GDI devised a bold plan. A fleet of stealth bombers equipped with Starbreaker cannons would launch a surprise assault while ground forces distracted the ship's defenses. Leading the mission was Captain Liam Hayes, a decorated pilot whose skills were unmatched. Alongside him flew Mia Torres, who insisted on joining despite protests from her superiors. "If we fail," she told them, "I want to go down fighting." The operation began at dawn. As the sun rose over the horizon, casting golden light across the waves, the bombers approached the dreadnought from multiple angles. Their stealth systems masked their presence until the last possible moment, giving them precious seconds to strike before the ship's automated defenses activated. Plasma bolts streaked through the air as the Zorathians retaliated, forcing the pilots to perform evasive maneuvers that tested their limits. Inside the cockpit of her fighter jet, Mia gripped the controls tightly, sweat beading on her forehead. She could feel the vibrations of enemy fire shaking the plane, but she refused to flinch. Her target was the dreadnought's central energy core, a glowing orb nestled deep within the ship's structure. Locking onto it with precision, she fired the Starbreaker cannon, unleashing a beam of concentrated energy that pierced through the hull. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the vessel, causing explosions to erupt along its surface. Other bombers followed suit, targeting secondary systems and weakening the ship further. Within minutes, the dreadnought began to collapse inward, its massive frame crumbling into the ocean below. Cheers erupted among the pilots as they retreated to safety, their mission accomplished. The loss of the dreadnought dealt a crippling blow to the Zorathians, leaving them scrambling to regroup. Despite these victories, humanity knew the war was far from over. The Zorathians still outnumbered them, and their homeworld remained an enigma, a distant planet shrouded in mystery. To truly end the threat, humanity needed to strike at the source. This realization led to the formation of Project Exodus, a top-secret initiative aimed at constructing starships capable of traveling beyond the solar system. Using hybrid technology, blending human ingenuity with alien advancements, the first vessel, christened Odyssey, took shape in secret facilities hidden beneath the Nevada desert. The Odyssey represented humanity's greatest achievement yet. Sleek and powerful, it was designed not just for exploration but for war. Its engines utilized quantum propulsion, allowing it to traverse vast distances in record time. Its arsenal included plasma cannons, EMP emitters, and experimental gravity manipulators. Most importantly, it carried a crew of the best minds and bravest warriors Earth had to offer, including Dr. Elias Kane and Mia Torres. Before the Odyssey could embark on its maiden voyage, however, humanity faced one final test. The Zorathians, desperate to regain control, launched a massive counteroffensive. Thousands of ships descended upon Earth simultaneously, overwhelming human defenses. Cities burned as lasers rained down from the skies, and entire populations fled in terror. It seemed as though the invaders might succeed in wiping out humanity after all. In response, the GDI mobilized every available resource. Fighter jets swarmed the atmosphere, engaging the alien fleet in dogfights that lit up the night sky. Ground troops fought valiantly to hold key positions, buying time for reinforcements to arrive. Amidst the chaos, Mia led a daring mission to disable the Zorathians' command hub, a colossal space station orbiting the moon. Without it, their fleet would lose cohesion, giving humanity a chance to turn the tide once more. The mission was perilous. The space station was heavily guarded, its corridors patrolled by elite Zorathian warriors. But Mia's team moved with precision, taking out enemies silently and planting explosives at critical junctions. When the charges detonated, the station erupted in flames, sending debris hurtling toward the lunar surface. The Zorathian fleet faltered, their coordination disrupted. Seizing the opportunity, human forces launched a final decisive assault, driving the invaders back into deep space. When the dust settled, Earth stood victorious, but scarred. Billions had perished in the conflict, and much of the planet lay in ruins. Yet amidst the devastation there was hope. Humanity had proven itself capable of standing toe-to-toe with galactic powers. They had united under a single banner, forged alliances, and pushed the boundaries of what was possible. And now, with the Odyssey ready to set sail, they prepared to take the fight to the stars. As the ship lifted off from its launch pad, surrounded by cheering crowds, Dr. Elias Kane stood beside Mia Torres, watching it ascend into the heavens. Both wore expressions of quiet determination. They knew the journey ahead would be fraught with danger, but they also knew something else. Humanity was no longer afraid. Once dismissed as weak and insignificant, they had risen to become a force to be reckoned with. The Zorathians had underestimated humanity once. They wouldn't make the same mistake twice. The Zorathians had never known defeat. For centuries they had ruled the galaxy with an iron fist, their name striking fear into the hearts of lesser civilizations. But now, as their battered fleet retreated into the depths of space, they faced a truth that shook their empire to its core. Humanity was not weak. The species they had dismissed as primitive and insignificant had risen to challenge them, and won. Months after the failed invasion, the Zorathians sent envoys to Earth seeking negotiations. Their tone was markedly different this time. Respectful, cautious, even fearful. Gone was the arrogance that had defined their initial arrival. Instead, they spoke of peace, offering reparations for the damage caused during their attack. They promised to leave Earth alone if humanity agreed to remain within its solar system, avoiding further interference in galactic affairs. World leaders debated the proposal fiercely. Some argued that accepting the offer would ensure Earth's safety, allowing humanity to rebuild without fear of another invasion. Others believed it was a trap, a way for the Zorathians to buy time while they regrouped and planned their next move. Ultimately, the decision fell to Dr. Elias Kane and Mia Torres, who had become key figures in shaping humanity's response to the alien threat. Elias approached the negotiations with caution. He knew the Zorathians were cunning and ruthless, traits that made them dangerous even in defeat. Working alongside Mia, he crafted a counter-proposal. Earth would agree to peace, but only if the Zorathians shared their technology and recognized humanity as equals in the galactic community. It was a bold demand, one that shocked both human delegates and Zorathian envoys alike. But Elias understood that humanity's future depended on more than just survival. It required growth, exploration, and a place among the stars. To everyone's surprise, the Zorathians accepted. Perhaps it was fear of what humanity might achieve next, or perhaps it was genuine respect earned through battle. Either way, the agreement marked a turning point in Earth's history. For the first time, humanity stepped onto the galactic stage, not as prey, but as predator. As news of the treaty spread, whispers of Earth's triumph echoed across the galaxy. Other alien civilizations, many of whom had previously dismissed humans as irrelevant, now watched with cautious curiosity. Word of the EMP attacks, the daring raids led by Mia Torres, and the technological leaps achieved under Dr. Elias Kane's guidance inspired awe and admiration. Some races saw humanity as allies, eager to form partnerships. Others viewed them as rivals, wary of their rapid rise to power. Regardless of opinion, one thing was clear: humanity could no longer be ignored. With peace secured, Earth turned its attention to rebuilding and preparing for the future. Cities devastated by the war were transformed into marvels of engineering, blending alien designs with human creativity. Skyscrapers glittered with energy-efficient panels, powered by fusion reactors reverse-engineered from Zorathian tech. Underground networks housed advanced research facilities, where scientists worked tirelessly to unlock new possibilities. Schools introduced programs focused on astrophysics, xenobiology, and interstellar diplomacy, ensuring the next generation would inherit a legacy of innovation. At the forefront of these efforts was the Global Defense Initiative, GDI. Under its banner, nations united to build a fleet of starships modeled after the Odyssey. These vessels weren't just tools of war, they were symbols of humanity's ambition. Equipped with cutting-edge weaponry and faster-than-light engines, they were designed to explore uncharted regions of the galaxy, forge alliances, and protect Earth from any future threats. Mia Torres played a pivotal role in shaping the GDI's mission. Having proven herself as a leader on the battlefield, she now served as commander of the newly formed Interstellar Expeditionary Force, IEF. Her task was simple, yet monumental: lead humanity's charge into the unknown. Alongside her was Dr. Elias Kane, whose scientific expertise ensured the IEF's missions were guided by knowledge as much as courage. The Odyssey embarked on its maiden voyage shortly after the treaty was signed. Its destination was Proxima Centauri, the closest star system to Earth. Scientists hoped to study its planets for signs of life, resources, or potential colonization sites. But the journey wasn't without risks. Space was vast and unpredictable, filled with dangers humanity had yet to encounter. Pirates, rogue AI constructs, and hostile alien species lurked in the shadows, waiting to exploit unsuspecting travelers. Despite these perils, the crew of the Odyssey pressed onward. Led by Captain Mia Torres, They navigated treacherous asteroid fields, charted unexplored nebulae, and braved radiation storms that tested their resolve. Each discovery brought excitement and wonder. On one planet, they found ruins of an ancient civilization, hinting at a forgotten chapter in galactic history. On another, they encountered a sentient species living beneath frozen oceans, sparking debates about ethics and coexistence. Back on Earth, the Odyssey's progress was broadcast live, captivating audiences worldwide. People gathered around screens to watch as humanity took its first steps beyond the solar system. Children dreamed of becoming astronauts, explorers, and diplomats. Parents whispered stories of Mia Torres and Dr. Elias Kane, portraying them as modern-day heroes. For the first time in history, humanity looked outward, not with fear, but with hope. But the Odyssey's journey also revealed darker truths. Not all alien civilizations welcomed humanity's arrival. Some viewed them as invaders, encroaching on territories claimed long ago. Others saw them as competition, determined to sabotage their efforts. In one harrowing encounter, the Odyssey narrowly escaped destruction when a rival faction launched a surprise attack. The incident reminded everyone aboard that trust in the galaxy came at a price, and vigilance was essential. Through it all, Mia remained steadfast. She knew the road ahead would be difficult, fraught with challenges that tested humanity's strength and unity. But she also believed in the resilience of her people. "We've survived worse," she often said during briefings. "If we can stand up to the Zorathians, we can handle anything." Her words resonated deeply with the crew. They worked together seamlessly, combining skills and perspectives to overcome obstacles. Engineers repaired damaged systems using materials scavenged from alien wrecks. Biologists studied exotic flora and fauna, unlocking secrets that could revolutionize medicine. Diplomats negotiated treaties with friendly species, laying the groundwork for alliances that would benefit both parties. Meanwhile, Dr. Elias Kane continued his work, pushing the boundaries of human understanding. He theorized about wormholes, alternate dimensions, and the possibility of encountering non-corporeal life forms. His ideas sparked debates among the crew, challenging them to think beyond conventional limits. Though some dismissed his musings as impractical, others embraced them as opportunities for discovery. As the Odyssey ventured deeper into the galaxy, its mission evolved. What began as a quest for knowledge became a crusade for justice. The crew uncovered evidence of atrocities committed by powerful empires, enslavement of weaker species, exploitation of resources, and environmental devastation. Horrified by what they saw, Mia and her team vowed to fight back. Using their advanced technology and strategic brilliance, they dismantled slave markets, liberated oppressed populations, and exposed corruption wherever they found it. Their actions earned them both allies and enemies. Some hailed them as liberators, grateful for their intervention. Others condemned them as meddlers, accusing them of disrupting the natural order. Yet, despite the criticism, Mia stood firm. "We didn't come here to conquer," she declared during a tense standoff with a hostile empire. "We came to make a difference. If standing up for those who can't fight back makes us your enemy, then so be it." By the time the Odyssey Kaawasain returned to Earth, years had passed. The ship bore scars from countless battles, its hull patched and reinforced multiple times. But its crew carried something far more valuable, proof that humanity belonged among the stars. Their discoveries had rewritten textbooks, their alliances had reshaped politics, and their victories had cemented Earth's reputation as a force to be reckoned with. Upon their return, Mia and Elias were celebrated as heroes. Parades were held in their honor, monuments erected to commemorate their achievements, but neither sought fame or glory. For them, the true reward lay in knowing they had changed the course of history, not just for Earth, but for the galaxy itself. As Mia gazed up at the night sky, she felt a sense of fulfillment she had never known before. Humanity had started as a small, fragile species clinging to a tiny planet. Now they were explorers, warriors, and ambassadors, carving out a place in the cosmos. The journey was far from over, but one thing was certain. The days of viewing humans as weak were over, In the annals of galactic history, Earth's name would forever be remembered, not as prey, but as predator. And somewhere out there, among the stars, new adventures awaited.